Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I think today is going to be a day of thank yous and pleases and congratulations, I hope. So I wanted to thank the AUC so much for hosting us this year. It's been a wonderful experience working with you all. And I do hope, like Dr. Ahmed said, that we can continue to collaborate. So I'm here to talk about ABIC, who we are, and essentially the activities that have happened over the past year. I don't assume that everyone in this room knows who we are, so I'm going to start by giving you a quick overview of who ABIC is. So we are a volunteer, community-driven initiative. Our aim is to try and help the African microscopy and bioimaging community to be able to access the things that they need, whether it's resources, whether it's information, and to essentially create a community that supports the bioimaging and microscopy agenda on the African continent. What we do is unite and grow the African microscopy community. We have more than 350 scientists. When we talk about 350, we're talking about the people that have joined our mailing list, the people that are in our working groups, just everyone who is either benefiting from ABIC, receiving information from ABIC, or is actively participating in ABIC. That is the 350 scientists you see over there. And we are across 28 different countries, and hopefully soon we'll reach more than that. It's really a testament of how much we've grown that we're continuing to grow our North African contingent, and I'm glad that today is a representation of that. Our cohort is made up of a bunch of different research areas, just to show that it's really not about any kind of specific topic, but it's about ensuring that everybody in the bioimaging space is accommodated and is heard, and can ensure that the things that they've identified that they need in their community is addressed. We also promote microscopy in research. We do this through our opportunities database. So if you go to our website, you will find an opportunities database where we share, through Microscopy DB, we share local and global opportunities, funding opportunities, travel grants, etc. And this is part of our mandate of ensuring that we provide you with the information that you need at whatever point that you need it. We try to connect and harness collaboration between our scientists. One of the ways that we have done that is through our map. So if you go onto our website, it needs a bit of updating. We're trying to improve the interface. But if you go to our website, we've got a map that is a self-reporting map. This is where people sign up and say, hey, I'm a scientist. I am in Zambia. This is the research topic that I do. This is the equipment that I have. If you want to contact me, contact the person who's in charge of this equipment. These are the details. So this is our first iteration of trying to ensure that people are aware of what's happening on the continent and who's doing it. And as Mai said, we kind of growing that a bit more and getting more precise information on that through our survey, which I'll get into a little bit later. Another way that we are trying to ensure that we connect scientists and showcase them is through our researcher showcase, but I'll also get into that a little bit later. We try to serve as a central hub for opportunities, information, and resources. And we do that through the different initiatives that we run. So if you look at our website, you'll find that we have a resource hub. That is where you'll find information about advanced imaging centers, partnering communities that we have. You'll also find some online events that are happening. And if you join our newsletter, that's where we also share the most up-to-date information from all the communities, global and local. And we send that directly to your email, and that's where you can find out everything that you need and everything that's happening. And then we try to harness collaborative efforts between partner networks and initiatives. So again, I'm going to keep directing you to our website because it's probably the best place to go to learn about us. We do share some of the different initiatives on the African continent that work within bioimaging and that can be useful to you and for the things that you're looking for. We are also part of the GBI. We're part of GBI, and so we are essentially part of a growing and thriving global network, of which the aim of that is to ensure that we expose our community to a network of people that they can collaborate with on a larger scale than just on the African continent. And then lastly, we try to build dialogue and empower advocacy. This is an example of us trying to build dialogue, right? We've hosted community meetings over 3 years, 2022, 2023, and 2024. It started off with only 30 attendees and 14 sponsored delegates. It increased exponentially in 2023. And as we moved from hosting it in Cape Town, because initially the first two were hosted in Cape Town, we then started trying to host it in other countries on the African continent. And that kind of is reflected in the amount of people that were able to get there, because it's, we're having to outsource the ability to attend. But it has been such an amazing experience getting to see other communities be reflected and be there with them and learn what each community needs and the challenges that each community is facing. And that is the importance of being able to connect and advocate for each other. And essentially, that's who we are. So I think an important aspect of what you need to know about us is how you can get involved. There's different ways that you can get involved with ABIC. You can either join the membership. That is really just for us to have data to say who's interested in being part of this community. Or you can join our mailing list. That is where you'll get our monthly newsletters. Or you can join one of our working groups. Our working groups is based off of our mission, vision, and pillars, of which I'll get into a bit later. But these are essentially groups where people volunteer to solve the issues that they've identified as important in the community. If you are recognizing that the community needs training and education, you step up as a researcher in Africa and say, this is what I think we need to be teaching the community about. These are the people that I know can do that, or I myself am equipped to do that, and I would like to share that information with the community. In the infrastructure and expertise working group, it is where we have our infrastructure survey, which is the survey that is trying to figure out where is the equipment, what state is it in, is it funded or not, and what are the expertise of the people that are using it. And then lastly, we have our comms and awareness group. This is the group that ensures that we make sure that everyone has access to the information that they need and that we increase our visibility globally and locally. So that's who we are. But a little portion of this is also to talk about, the activities that we have going on. So through the working groups, we have a bunch of activities that we do. We do online training through webinars, and we also do in-person and online workshops. We have researcher showcase initiatives, which is essentially where we try to showcase the research that's happening on the continent and the researchers that are doing that work. We also have the survey, as I've mentioned, and the annual community meetings. And I think now I'm done telling you who we are. Now I can give you an update on what's happened over the past year. So since we last spoke, we have gained new members in our EXCO and Ops team. So we have EXCO members that are representative of the different aspects of our continent. And then we also have some working group leads. These are the people who essentially lead our working groups and make sure that when we come together as a community with this mandate to do something important, that they take us from point A to point Z. And then we also have invited partner representatives from our different partnering initiatives so that they can have a voice in our community and so that we're aware of everything that is happening on the continent and not just becoming an echo chamber of people who already know and understand each other. What I wanted to specifically bring, and then it's me, but don't worry about that. What I wanted to specifically bring your attention to is our 3 new working group leads. They were instated this year as Naomi Okugbeni, Emmanuel Martini, and Nehal. These are our working group leads for the training and education working group, and they have done an amazing job of taking the mantle over from our previous leads, which was Mai and Lisa. And so I just wanted to specifically highlight the importance of community that grows together and eventually becomes leaders in that community.
Can I just add that they are already here? Like 2 of them, Nihal and Emmanuel, are actually here. So if you need to know more about the community, the working group, you can just like talk to them in any of the coffee breaks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mai. All right. What we also did over this year is we ratified our mission and vision. So as you can see here, this is our mission. I don't think we need to go into it. So I just wanted to let you know that we've ratified our mission, we've ratified our vision and our guiding pillars. I think I'm just going to stop a little bit here and talk about our guiding pillars, which is training and education, as I mentioned, community and infrastructure and access. And these guiding pillars form the basis of the working groups. These are principles or areas of interest that the community itself identified needs some work and needs some it needs people to pour a bit into it. People need to be trained. People need to have access to infrastructure and equipment, and people need to connect and collaborate and network. And so if you would like to read more about that, you can look at our About page where you'll find this mission, this vision, and these pillars, and you'll also see pictures of our past community meetings. So through these guiding pillars, we try and make sure that ABIC is a core platform for building access and community. And the way that we do the community aspect is, as I said, through our working groups. And previously, we had 3 working groups, but as of the past couple of months, we've now had a 4th working group, which is the student working group. We had identified that, you know what, we are missing a key representative in our community, and that is students. They are going to be the scientists of the future. They're the ones that are going to make change And we need to ensure that they're heard as early as possible and are contributing and are involved in the community as early as possible. And so in meeting with these student members as part of this working group, they've identified a couple of things that they're needing. One of it was mentorship and networks. They're realizing that they don't have much leadership in terms of when they start getting involved in imaging, is there anyone that can help guide me either in my career or in my experimental planning, in doing my research in general? They're needing training. So basically, trying to translate the basics and the fundamentals of microscopy and applying it to their specific experiments. Awareness. They had identified that the people, even just within institutions, are not aware of things like ABIC. They're not aware of imaging in general and how imaging can be used in their research. And so creating that ambassadorship that talks about what is possible when you use microscopy. And then lastly, a roadmap. They said there's tons of resources on the internet about what type of techniques there are, how you can use them, image analysis, data analysis, but it's just too much. We don't really know how to make the top from the bottom. So we need a roadmap. If I want to start and learn, where do I start and where do I end? And so far, the students have started a mentorship application where we are hoping to be able to collaborate with our global community and have some mentors come and teach and mentor these students in the different areas that they've identified. This is a very young group, so it's by no means far along yet, but I thought it was important that we get to talk about that today, and so that you guys get an understanding of what the young people in our community need. And then another amazing thing that has come out of the community is we have officially launched the first tier of our the trainer program, which is the fundamental microscopy course, where we covered a couple of topics in there of the basics of microscopy, and it was launched on the 16th and 17th of July, and it was by far the most and best attended event on ABIC. Usually with webinars, people sign up, but they don't tend to attend. This is I'm personally asking you guys to attend the webinars when you register for them. But yes, people attended this one very well, which tells us that people really are looking for training and they want to know more and they want to know how to use the equipment. So that was a major win on ABIC's part. It took us quite a while to create this and to officially feel confident enough to share it and teach it. And the aim is that once we've taught it, we can teach other people to teach it, and it can kind of be a cascade effect. The challenge that we're facing now as a community is that we're trying to create the next level, which is the intermediate level, but finding researchers and bioimaging experts on the continent who feel confident enough to take the fundamentals and then to teach the intermediate has been quite a challenge. And so that's kind of where we've come to a bottleneck. And we're hoping that in meeting together, we can kind of start identifying solutions to that. And then the survey that we spoke about. This is one of the ways in which we are working as a community to answer the questions that we have. The survey that we took out was asking people who's running the facility, what equipment is available, what type of support and funding, how did you acquire this equipment, like through funding, was it donated, etc. What is the functionality and problems of that equipment, and what are the challenges that you have faced? So we launched it last year, 2024, July. We've gotten 110 responses so far from over 21 countries. But we have John Woodland here who's going to go into the specifics of what came out of this survey. And hopefully that gives us some answers as to what's happening in regards to bioimaging infrastructure on the continent. And then we also try and do things through accessibility. We create accessibility. So if you go to our website, you'll find that we have different dashboards for the news, opportunities, as I mentioned, resource hubs, etc. And then we also, I actually want to pause here and mention that usually I'd have this slide at the end, but there's something at the end that I think is really an important aspect of what I want to talk about today. So this is how part of the ways in which we boost accessibility is through our various social media platforms, through our YouTube page, and then lastly, we recently started a Discord channel, which is where we can internally communicate as a community. So Discord is where we'll send messages and chat, give each other updates. If we need to share something, that is where we will do it. So it's just an internal communication channel that everyone is free to join. And right now we're in the testing phase to see if it's implemented well and if the community is interested in something like this. But lastly, I wanted to talk about the researcher showcase aspect of accessibility. So we try and showcase researchers and the work that they do and the researchers themselves. And there's two ways that we do that. The first one is through our researcher showcase blog. The researcher showcase blog, it kind of it was an idea that we had prior, but we were really able to launch it after we launched our imaging competition last year. And the winners of that imaging competition became the first researchers that were able to put up on the blog. And essentially, we asked them about their experience, we asked them about their research, and we ensured that they are made visible on our platform and are able to talk about themselves. And if anyone's ever trying to connect with them and understand what the community is doing, this is how we've given them a voice to speak for themselves on a larger platform. The other way that we've done this is through the Researcher Showcase webinar. This is an idea. So we have a researcher here, Seth Domfe. He had applied for an Army fellowship, the Africa Microscopy Initiative, and he also had gotten some images through that fellowship. And then he had spoken to one of the ABIC training and education leads, which is Emmanuel, to help him analyze his images. And so from that, he was able to essentially finish his research, and we were able to host a webinar where he was able to share the work that he had done. And for me, this was an important point for me to end this talk off on, because it talks about the importance of the network and core facilities working together, and also the importance of collaboration, and how being a part of a community can allow you to grow and allow you to have access to people and resources who can help you see your research through, and who can eventually help you grow your career. And so I think this is an important thing that we need to kind of understand, that as being part of the community means you don't only benefit from the community, but you give. And a community that has people working in it is a community that grows and gets to benefit from it. So I thought this was a brilliant, brilliant opportunity to share how these two collaborations and other collaborations on the continent can really, when what we think is a drop in the bucket, can become a wave that reverberates across the landscape of African research. And so with that, I'm done. Thank you, everyone.